Hello, friends, and welcome back to r/IDontWorkHereLady. And I suggest we start our video today with a little warm-up story. Life Vagrant. I work for the railroad, and I'm often sent out to outposts around the country. Not often, but sometimes I'm sent to be a conductor. Foreman, if you will, to places I've never been. This one particular day, I showed up at the yard about 200 kilometers from my home terminal, an hour early so I could get an idea of what the layout was and what needed to be done. Little precursor, I look like a biker. Fat, long jet black hair, long beard, holes in my jeans. Also, I'm very oblivious to most social cues. Anyway, I'm walking around the yard with a map I printed out, and it lists all of the rail cars we have in the area, and I'm just wandering around with my coffee, taking it easy. I hear a car pull up, and thinking it's my crew showing up, I turn around and see it's the police. I wave and keep walking. She gets out of the car and yells over, "Hey, how are you today?" "Good, you?" "Oh, not too bad. Nice day at least." "Yep. What can I do for you? Little out of your jurisdiction, aren't you?" "Yeah, a little bit. Got reports of a vagrant hanging around the yard, just checking it out." "Well, I've been here for an hour and I haven't seen anyone. If I do, I'll let you know." "What are you doing?" Just getting the layout of the land. My crew should be showing up here pretty soon. Gonna take all this stuff out of here." "Okay, have a good day." I told my crew and they all started laughing at me. I looked at them all confused. "Look at you. You're the vagrant, you ugly F." I had a great laugh out of it. Still am. It's been 4 years since this happened and I'm still laughing about it. Well, it sounds like you got a decent policeman at least. This could easily have gone the opposite direction. And our next story. I get harassed while teaching a game. Store owner starts to give me the employee discount. "It's me, your friendly neighborhood card game judge. In addition to running and judging tournaments all over the place, I have some shocking news. I love card games. I've played almost every CCG, TCG, LCG, unique games, card games that's been printed. And I love teaching people how to play card games. Some games are really simple and others are complex and require 5 sets of tokens. So about 5 weeks ago, I was at my FLGS, friendly local game store, and I was showing a few people how to play a new cooperative card game based on a major comic book franchise. I was explaining the rules and what the cards do and everything. The entire time there was this ET, let's call him MODOK, that kept interrupting me. Now, I love teaching, so I didn't mind explaining things, but MODOK was asking things like, "Why isn't Krypton Man or Nocturnal Avian Mammal Man in this game?" Wrong publisher. "How come you're playing as a girl hero? Who's that anyway? I never heard of her. She must suck." I kind of had enough, so I snapped back, "Look, you apparently don't know what you're talking about, so please leave us alone and let me finish teaching the game. If you're interested in learning, I can stick around after and teach you the game." MODOK stormed off, and I was kind of like, well, good riddance. Finally, I got the game set up, and we started playing. All was well, with the exception that we're getting our butts kicked by the game. Then I noticed MODOK walking to a woman, let's call her Hella, in full Karen gear, storming towards me. Uh-oh. "Did you snap at my kid?" "Yeah, I'm trying to teach this game to people, and MODOK kept interrupting us." "Well, isn't it your job to answer questions from customers?" "What are you talking about?" "You work here, don't you?" "No, I don't. And I'm done being interrupted. Get lost, lady." "How dare you? I know I've seen you behind the counter before, and you work here every week doing things." "Look, get it through your thick skull. I don't work here. Now leave me alone before I have you and MODOK thrown out for harassing me." "You're a liar. You do work here." "I'm done with this bullcrap." I storm to the counter, get the store owner, let's call him Thor. "Hey, what's going on?" "Can you fix this crazy bee and her spawn? She's harassing me and has been for the last 5 minutes, saying I work for you." "You do?" He looked at Hella and MODOK. "Oh God, you two. Look, it's one thing to harass my employees. They get paid to take a certain amount of abuse. But it's completely another to harass one of my customers. You know how much this guy spends in my store?" "Why is everyone lying? I know he works here. I see him behind the counter on your computer. Fire him right now, or I'll make sure MODOK or his friends never come to your store ever again." "He runs events for me. That's why he's behind the counter. I don't pay him to run those events. I can't run those events without him. I make money off those events. I'm not firing him because he's not an employee. And if he was an employee, I wouldn't fire him for all the money he makes me. And MODOK and his friends? What friends? Oh, his friends who annoy me all the time? The friends that get yelled at by him when they try to help him get better? Or the friends that beg me to ban him from the store? Those friends? Now get the F out of my store or I'll call the cops. Hella looked stunned for a minute, then turned around and stormed out of the store. MODOK stood there looking like he was about to cry. Then Thor shouted, "Leave now!" MODOK turned and ran after Hella. Me. Thanks. So do I get the employee discount now? Thor rolled his eyes at me, flipped me off, and walked away laughing. I went back to the table and continued the game. And we continued to get our butts handed to us. A few weeks later, I went and picked something up from the store. I know how much the item should cost, but the price I was being charged was lower than I was expecting. I didn't say anything, but I did notice on the receipt 10% employee discount. I mentioned it to the clerk, and he pulled up my store account and told me that Thor changed my account to an employee account. And our third story. Clean up the trash. A few things first. I grew up around snakes. I've owned a few different breeds. I know how to handle snakes. I also know what breeds of snake live in my area. The cast is M is me, K is Karen. I was out at a park where the trail went around a lake, and a section of the trail I was walking on was about 10 feet wide. There was grass a little higher than my ankles, and a few bush-like trees that grew over the water. This is important. So I was looking around one of the trees when I heard someone clear their throat. I didn't think anything of it because, well, allergies are super common this time of year. Excuse me. I look over, and she's doing one of those bent-over waves at me. Hi. Yeah, excuse me. Me. Hi. Confused as to why she needed my attention. There is garbage all over the place. I'm trying to have a nice day out. Yeah, I know it sucks. I'm trying to have a nice day too. Look, I'm dumber than a box of rocks, so I didn't understand why she was telling me, but I understand not wanting litter all over the park. So, clean it up. What? Clean it up. I was getting kind of pissed because she was talking to me like I was stupid, not a normal person. Go do it yourself, lady. What did you just say to me? You heard me. But it's your job. At this point, I realized what was going on, so I chuckled to myself, turned back around to continue looking for snakes. She started yelling at me because I have 3 younger siblings. I tune her out. It also helps that I have CAPD. I can hear some of it. However, she was saying I was disrespectful, something about her son, then starts cussing at me. So just as I'm about to move to the next spot, I see a black rat snake. I grab it, quickly stand up. It was probably 2.5 or 3 feet long. Black rat snakes can grow up to 6 feet long. Karen had a delayed reaction. Maybe she thought it was a stick. It was like something out of a movie. She went from enraged to terrified. She started backing away, dragging her son with her. You're not very ladylike. Then wild Karen fled back into her hovel. I wasn't trying to scare Karen on purpose. I just found what I was looking for. You should never purposely scare someone with any animal because the animal could get hurt. And our fourth story. You're 15. You can't work here. Get out before I call security. Some backstory. I look younger than I actually am. I'm 18 but look 15 or 16. My dad owns a relatively large company in the UK with 50 or 60 workers. I've worked for my dad for a couple years, but only the other executives knew I was his son. None of the interns or any of the other workers knew this. The cast is me, babyface kid, dad, CEO, chief financial officer is CFO, office worker number 1 is OF1, and office worker number 2 is OF2. So my dad's office has 4 floors, and executive floor, 2 floors of office space for all the workers, and a floor for storage and parking. I work on the 2nd floor, and my dad's on the 4th, so I rarely see him around the office, or any of the other executives for that matter. I used to just organize the storage room, but when I turned 18, I began working in the actual offices. On my first day, people started staring, but that was really it. It all kicked off on my 3rd day when OF1 came up to me and said, So, where do you go to school? Me. Actually, I don't go to school anymore. OF1 called over OF2 and both of them looked at me as if I just straight lied to the Queen of England. That's not true. Where do you go to school, bud? I just told OF1 I don't go to school anymore. OF1 and OF2 looked annoyed at this response and started to get agitated. You look 15. I can assure you I'm 18, sir. You're too young to be working here. Stop lying to us. You're 15. Get out before I call security. I just got up and walked over to the kitchen where I found the CFO. OF1 and OF2 went off to call security. Ma'am, OF1 and OF2 are claiming I'm only 15. Can you go get my dad? The CFO nodded and headed to the elevator while I walked back to my desk and sat and waited for the two OFs to come back. Eventually, they come back with security, and I'm wondering, what's taking Dad so long? The security guard strutted over and said, "Come on, let's see your ID then." I'd left my wallet in the car. My fault, I know. So I told him I didn't have it on me, but he cut me off and started to pull me out of my chair. At this time, my dad and the CFO come around the corner, and my dad instantly yelled, "What the F is going on?" My dad gets easily upset. The security guard was startled and let go, leaving me to fall on the floor while OF1 and OF2 stood there staring at me. CEO, you startled me. Just getting rid of this kid, nothing to worry about. I suggest you leave that kid alone, as he's my son. The security guard and everyone else on the floor went dead silent, and at that time OF1 and OF2 went back to their desks sheepishly. I was moved to the executive floor just in case this happened again, as my dad doesn't have time to deal with crap like this on a regular basis. The security guard was let off with a warning, OF1 was sacked for starting the unneeded commotion, and OF2 was let off the hook to my disappointment. Edit, I'm disappointed he was fired, not that OF2 was let off the hook. This happened about 6 months ago, and I still work there to this day, with an office shared with the CFO's son. We get along great, so it's really a chill environment to work in. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video to the end, and I'll see you in the next one.